Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the tools that I have been using for embracing a self-love spiritual practice. Recently, the teachings from Lilith and my experiences with her have evolved from embracing and really pursuing authentic self-expression, whether that be through fashion, makeup. As most of you are well aware, a lot of what I do, the work that I do with Lilith, it has glamour or glamour magic components to it, or aspects where I connect with the goddess using makeup. I've also started embracing a new sense of style, or experimenting with a new sense of style as well. And it is something that aligns with who I am now. As most of you are aware, if you're not new to my channel, I had a daughter about 2 years ago. And with that experience, as I've mentioned on quite a few videos on this channel at this point, that experience transformed me. I experienced what I refer to as death energy, or the death card, an ending and a new beginning. And now in my experience in my life, I realized that I experienced a rebirth, that a part of me, or even my old life, died, and a part of me died, and then I am now reborn. I experienced a rebirth, so to speak, or a kind of a rebirth after becoming a mother. So I found recently that the energy has shifted, and it's become more about doing shadow work, which shadow work has been a huge part of my spiritual practice for a long time now. I do a lot of reparenting or inner child work predominantly. Lilith is calling me to do shadow work around some darker aspects of myself, or aspects of myself that make me very uncomfortable, aspects of myself that I find disgusting even, or aspects of myself that I feel a lot of guilt or shame around. And instead of rejecting these aspects or recoiling from these aspects, she wants me to try a more compassionate, kind approach. So that's some more recent changes that we're implementing at this point in time. And today I really wanted to discuss this self-love practice, my lived and experienced self-love practice, of course keeping certain aspects to myself, things that I don't feel comfortable sharing with, of course, things that I don't think are relevant to share either, or it doesn't resonate to share. But there are some things here that I do feel they're okay to share with others. So I want to start off by saying, again, this is my personal experience. A lot of my spiritual practice, when it comes to self-love, it is in connection to the dark feminine, or a face of the dark feminine named Lilith. So this isn't going to be an in-depth video about who she is or how you can work with her. This is predominantly my experience working a self-love practice or spiritual practice with the goddess. And these are the things that I find work for me. This is a very intuitive approach. I do like to set intentions or amplify energy using color. So I do have some makeup products here. I don't have a lot, but I do have a couple of things. I have some decks as well that I wanted to share with you that I found very helpful and effective at assisting me on my self-love journey that I find very helpful. So, and I wanted to share these things with you if you're on a similar journey, if you have a similar connection with Lilith as well. I think that some of these things could be useful and effective. So no particular order. I wanted to start off with a candle that I like to use. This is specifically for self-care. This is just a regular candle from Bath & Body Works. I have 2 products from Bath & Body Works on this list. And I like Bath & Body Works. I find they're easily accessible. There's Bath & Body Works stores everywhere. I understand that they are a corporate giant, and I know a lot of people like to shop indie, and I have nothing against that. There are some products that I'm interested in trying. I just like Bath & Body Works because, again, they're accessible. You can go into the store, you can smell it, and this is just what works for me right now. So I do have this. It is a strawberry daiquiri scented candle from Bath & Body Works. It's pink, as you can see, and I like to use the color pink for it. It's associated with love, and I use it for my self-care or self-love, I should say, workings. If I'm doing a tarot reading that involves self-love, I like to use this candle as well. And I do tend to like sweeter scents, so I'll go ahead and share that with you. I like fruity scents, sweet scents, anything vanilla, anything that smells, to me, a sweet or even like a sweet musky scent can be very, very pleasing. And I do align these scents with sensuality. I do find them sexy as well. So I don't really like more masculine scents. So if you are going to try out these products, maybe keep that in mind. If you don't like that type of a scent profile, you might not like these products. So that is the strawberry daiquiri. It's a pink candle. Again, I do align the color pink with love. It's also made in energy, but I do predominantly like to use the color pink for self-love, rituals, and workings. So I also have from Bath & Body Works the Dark Kiss body lotion. So this is what I like to put on if I want to feel sexy or more sensual. And this is a scent that I associate with Lilith. It has a very sexy, sensual smell to me. Its profile, I can share that with you, the scent profile. So Bath & Body Works describes the scent as a sweet, seductive night in. Its scent profile is black raspberry, burgundy rose, bergamot incense, dark vanilla bean, and plum musk. I am absolutely obsessed with this smell. I align it with Lilith, and I like to wear this scent when I want to feel sexy in my own skin, and when I want to feel a stronger connection to Lilith as well. There was a period of time where I just used the body wash, and then I just became so enchanted by the scent of it, and I really just enjoyed the experience of the scent as well. It just sounds so weird. By the way, scent is like, it's a huge, I don't know, it's a big part of who I am. I really enjoy, I enjoy smelling good, and I enjoy when my partners smell good as well. That's a huge part of me. But, oh, where was I going with this? I went on a tangent. I became so obsessed with the smell of the body wash, I picked up the lotion as well. So I don't know if they're still selling this. The problem with Bath & Body Works is a lot of things discontinue. I have a candle that I aligned with Lilith scent as well. Like, I guess, like I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, I like to work with Lilith with a lot of scents. It's not just makeup and clothing, it's scent as well. I guess I align it more with her sensual aspects, if that makes any sense. But I do have a candle that's discontinued from Bath and Body Works, at least for now, that I like to use for her. I'm hoping if it comes back into stock, I can pick up another one. It's called Raspberry Mimosa. So it's sweet raspberries, rosé sorbet, and champagne. It's a nice smell, and I use this a lot in the beginning of my connection with her when I first started working with her. But as you can see, I'm almost done. Next up, I have been using these earrings. So I got these quite a long time ago from my mother-in-law. They are amber. I have a lot of crystal pieces of jewelry that I've inherited over the years just from my mother-in-law. She used to own a small side business where she sold jewelry. So I've inherited some of those pieces as she started struggling with her health. So she retired from her full-time job and also her side business. So I have received a lot of pieces from her over the years just because of that business. These beautiful earrings, they are orange. I associate the color orange with confidence. It's fire energy as well. I'm wearing some orange pieces to help embody those qualities more and to help bring out those qualities. As I've already mentioned, I do like to use color to intensify intentions, and I do find color to be very effective at that as well. Every color has an association. There's some very helpful online guides. I would also use your intuition if you're drawn to working with color in that way. And there is books that are helpful. This one, for example, The Witch's Apothecary. It's written by one of the creators of the Seasons of the Witch series. She has a color magic correspondence table in her chart, in her book, sorry, The Witch's Apothecary. And I have even one in my journal that I just found a picture online, printed it off, and I have it in my journal that way. If I'm moving around, if I need to travel that day, I have a little copy that I can carry around with me. Next, before we get into the decks, I just have some palettes here. I am obsessed with the 9-pan Color Pop palettes. I have a bunch from before I had my daughter, from I think even before I got married even. I have loved the Color Pop products. I like the brand. I find the makeup to be very good quality and it doesn't break the bank. So I do have a lot of these palettes. This is just the Main Squeeze palette. It's a red themed palette, I guess. There's quite a lot of shades that you can choose from here. So there's some really nice metallics, a lot of different finishes. There's metallics, mattes, and shimmers all together. I wear this palette a lot. I'm wearing a lot of red. That's something I forgot to mention, that instead of, I used to wear a lot of green, I've now been wearing a lot of red to really embody passion, love, self-love. It's creative energy as well. I've had a very unique experience, particularly last week, where me and Lilith, and I'm pretty sure some other guides as well, were really having a lot of dialogue and conversation regarding the more creative and life aspects of fire, if that makes sense, or life-sustaining aspects of fire. I'm planning on possibly doing a video about that in the future. It was some very interesting, eye-opening conversations regarding the fire element, and it helped change my view of the fire element. Recent addition to my ColourPop collection is the Blowing Smoke palettes. This is a gray, black, and white themed palette. So as I've gotten closer to Lilith and I'm exploring her energy in new ways, I'm finding myself drawn to black and white again and reds. So I had to pick this up. ColourPop just had a massive sale, so I did end up picking this up in another palette as well. I really enjoy these 9-pan palettes, and I find them really easy to use. They tend to come with a decent range of colors, so you can do a few different looks. You can do more dramatic looks, you can do more toned down looks, and I find that really helpful when you're in a rush, you have to go to work, you have to drop your kid off at daycare, whatever your lifestyle might be, if you have to go to school, and you just don't have time to look through a bunch of different palettes. It's so easy to pull out one of these palettes and you have a decent range of colors that you can, well, you have a decent range, I guess, of the color that you want to wear on that day. I have quite a few. I have the yellow one, I have the blush one, I have peach, blue, I have the blue moon one, I have a bunch of different ones. And like I said, if you are interested in makeup and you don't mind purchasing online, and you know the wait might be a bit, you don't mind waiting, try out ColourPop. They are an affordable but good quality brand. Their products tend to be really nice quality. I tend to wear a lot of their matte liquid lips as well. I'm wearing one of their matte liquid lips in this video right now, and I like them. They work for me. This red lipstick, I can wear it all day, and no complaints from me for the most part. I do really enjoy their makeup, and they have sales all the time. That is my spiel about makeup. Now I want to move on to the decks that I've been really enjoying connecting with Lilith. So I have a new deck purchase. I recently picked this up. I've been on the fence about buying this deck for a very long time. It's the Radiant Wilds Tarot. It's published by Rockpool Publishing. The cardstock is not my favorite, but I do enjoy the gilding, and I really enjoy the guidebook, I have to admit, and I do like the artwork. It's collage style. By the way, I don't typically like collage, but my experience with the Goddess of Love Tarot has gotten me on collage decks, which is really funny for me, but it's different for me. I'm not used to enjoying collage style decks, but I have a new appreciation for them, and I do see their beauty and their uniqueness. So I do have a new, like I said, a new appreciation for collage style decks. And as you can see, this deck has very vivid colors. I swear I'm just all over the place in this video. I'm so sorry. Mercury's in retrograde, and I'm filming actually on the day of the solar eclipse. I was lucky enough to get off work early today, so I thought, why not? Hopefully this video goes a little bit better. But love the vivid colors. It's desert landscape. It is so, like, I'm still getting to know the deck, but I do have to admit that it does have a solar energy to it. I'm looking for more fire energy decks. I tend to avoid fire energy. I have for a very long time because I don't have any fire placements. I wasn't very interested in the fire element and really connecting with it on a more intimate level, the way that I tend to go more towards earth decks. I have a lust for the earth element. I'm a Capricorn, Mars, Moon in Virgo, so I do tend to have more of an affinity for the earth element. But I have to admit, since I've been pursuing a connection with Lilith and working with her, I have been so drawn to the fire element, and this deck is beautiful. I would recommend it if you do not mind collage style artwork, you don't mind vivid colors. There's a lot of reds, oranges, yellows. If you don't mind that, this color palette, if you don't mind the fire element, if you're looking for something to connect to the fire element, if you don't mind solar energy as well, I would give this deck a go. I want to show you the guidebook now. I'm really enjoying the guidebook, and by the way, I had a really powerful shadow work experience with this deck the other day. It was incredible. And it just read like a song. It read so beautifully. It was very easy to understand, very chatty. So far, my experience with this deck, it's blowing me away. And I was initially disappointed with the cardstock, but it's growing on me. So the guidebook, although it doesn't have any spreads, it has an excellent contents. You can easily find the card that you pulled for the day or the card that you're looking for. I'll show you. It has an excellent contents. And then you have, for the actual guidebook portion where you get your card meanings, it has the title of the card. It has a little sentence. For example, here, 3 of Cups, I lean into my bonds. Then you get a direction where it gives you keywords associated with that card. And then you get the legend, which explains what you see in the card. And then you get a light and shadow aspect of the card. And then you get a radiance tip where it just gives you a suggestion to work with that energy. So I'm not sure if I have to explain the difference between light and shadow. That's just like your upright and reversed card meanings. If you're new to tarot, that might be helpful. But light and shadow, light is consciousness, shadow is subconsciousness. So at least that's how I work with those terms. So I do really recommend this deck. I recommend this guidebook especially too. I think this could be very useful if you're new to tarot. There's a decent amount of information. I can even show you. I'll just show you the 3 of Cups that I just read to you. Like 2 pages for a minor arcana card. Usually you don't get that. Typically you'll just get a 1 page. But it is, I do would recommend this deck. Next up is an older Oracle deck. I've had this deck for a while, and I have recently been called to work with this deck on a more intimate level, and I have really been enjoying my experience with this deck. I love the colors. I love the artwork. Kim Cran's really, the artwork on this deck, it just blows me away every single time I use it. It's a very powerful deck. To me, I experienced the Kim Cran's deck, or decks, I guess. The ones that at least I have in my collection. I have all of them except the alchemy one. I find them to be, they're a little challenging to get to know, but once you get to know them, they read like a song. They're usually very easy for me to work with. I find them very helpful for doing shadow work and accessing my subconscious. And I find this deck to be no different. It definitely took some time for me to get to know, but now that I have gotten to know it, the deck is just, it's wonderful. It's irreplaceable in my collection. It's very easy to read. I used to only be able to work with the guidebook. Now I can read it intuitively. And I like that it's an archetype based deck. I find working with archetypes very helpful on our spiritual on our spiritual journeys. And even you can use this on a daily basis as well to know what archetypes you're interacting with on that day, what energies, what myths you're dealing with. And I like to pull a card, and then like I pulled the flame the other day, and I like to think to myself, you know, how do people react, how do they interact with flames and myths? And then I'll journal about that. And then I will journal anything relevant that pops up, any intuitive hits that I have, I'll journal about. So that's just how I really like to work with this deck. Like I said, I've been using it every single day. I can't drop this deck. I find it to be very powerful for myself and also for the people in my life who I like to read for. So I couldn't recommend this deck more. The guidebook's not too bad. There's a lot of information for each card in the guidebook. It's easy to find your card as well in the guidebook. And now I have an intuitive experience with the deck as well, because like I said before, I couldn't really work intuitively with this deck. Next, I have the Goddess of Love Tarot by Gabrielle Hirschtick. I absolutely love this deck. I like to do readings on self-love, self-care, even shadow work regarding those things with this deck. I really like to use this deck in that way. And I connect with Lilith using this deck. You can connect with any goddess of love or lust with this deck. Any face of the divine erotic, as Gabrielle likes to put it. And Lilith is no exception. This deck has an energy that I align with the fire element. It wants to talk about your, like, more, I guess, Mars aspects in astrology, right? Your desires, all that fun stuff. So I love the energy of this deck. The imagery, I'm still getting to know. I just purchased this deck back in March around my birthday, so I am still getting to know this deck. I'm still working with it and learning its personality, but I do really enjoy my experience with it so far, and I do find it to be a very useful and helpful tool. It's a useful tool when you are trying to experience more self-love in your spiritual path, and you want to work more self-love rituals as well, and just bring that into your experience as well. And I find that this deck I find it very compassionate, to be honest, but still very strong and stern as well. So that is my experience with the Goddess of Love Tarot so far. I know it's like it really does align itself with more of a fire sign. I find it's like the fire signs in your life. They can be strong yet compassionate. They can be very supportive on your path, and especially on your path for self-love as well, and really embodying a lot of that. You see a lot of it with the sun as well. At least that's how I read solar. People with a lot of solar energy, or who are ruled by the sun. A significant component of their practice, or even their life path, is to really know their self-worth and their value. Their very self-expression is important as well, and a huge component of their paths. I find a lot of fire signs are very fleshed out in who they are. They have a very strong sense of self. And I do find that the goddess of love really aligns with those qualities. It's, like I said, it has a very strong fire element energy to it. And I'm really enjoying working with that deck as well, because I am trying to bring in a lot of those elements into my spiritual practice right now, and working with fire in a completely different way than I'm used to working with fire. As I said, I don't have any fire signs in my chart. I just have, my chart is mostly water and earth, and I have one air sign. So it's a very unique experience for me, having absolutely no fire in my chart. Last deck that I want to share is not a stranger to my channel at this point, the Queen Mab or Queen Mab Oracle by Tess Whitehurst. I purchased this deck when I was ready to, I guess, make an investment to communicate with Lilith. And this deck is highly recommended by the beautiful Owl Moon 513 or Racine on YouTube for connecting with Lilith. I also felt very intuitively drawn to this deck. A lot of creators were using the deck around the same time as well. And once I saw this image, I was convinced that this is the perfect deck to pair with her energy, at least for the time being, because this is how I see her in my mind's eye. By the way, I forgot to mention that there is nudity in this deck. There are a few cards with nudity, so I apologize if that offended you. A lot of the darker imagery, I do find that it aligns itself very well to her energy and a lot of the messages that she is trying to convey to me on any particular day. I've also had a unique experience with this deck lately where I've been able to read it intuitively. Previously, I would work exclusively with the guidebook. The guidebook is excellent. It has a lot of information. You get a small card reproduction. The deck's tone and personality, it wants you to really step into your sovereignty. It wants you to set boundaries, stand up for yourself, take accountability for yourself and where in the direction your life is heading in. It really wants you to be empowered and to step into your strength. The imagery is absolutely beautiful. There's a good mix of light and dark imagery. And like I said, I just think the dark images in the deck really they just align themselves really well. It aligns themselves very well to Lilith's energy. So that's the last deck that I really wanted to discuss with you today. As I am now moving in a different direction and pursuing self-love and exploring self-love in a new light. It's interesting how things can evolve and change. And I'm looking forward to exploring this new direction, I guess I could say, with Lilith. And I'm excited to see where this goes. And I hope somebody finds this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!